Welcome to today's video with Masana and the 5 gangsters. So these are our gangsters. That's Pablo, that's Capone, that's Babyface, that's Pretty Boy, and then we have Machine Gun Kelly. Anyway, so today's video is actually how we are planning, for our arrival of our 100 chickens. Maybe 150. I don't know right now. But we are currently having to prepare this area so that we can accept a lot more birds in the next few months. All right, so let me take you to where the gangsters are currently staying. All right. But one thing to note as well is that these gangsters were actually a gift from Cockeyville. So they had a few more male chickens and then they wanted to kind of get rid of them because they were starting to, cause a bit of problems with the other chickens there as well. So we were like, yeah, we're very happy to take them on here. And we wanted to experiment and see how the chickens are going to perform here because there are still a lot of factors to consider before we start bringing hens over here. So one issue is our perimeter. Right? We know for a fact that, our fence is not yet 100%, and that's because these chickens kind of showed us. Sometimes they actually go outside, but the good thing is they do come back in. So before we bring more chickens, we have to close off our fence and make sure that the other chickens, especially the little chicks, will not be able to get out of that fence. And the other thing as well was predators. Right? We were very worried about potentially any predators, coming in and possibly, hurting these chickens. So at first we wanted to see, will we have any instances with predators? And the first few days of actually having them here, we had, one chicken actually disappearing for the night. So we were very worried. We thought something had actually gotten it. But when we woke up in the morning, we found the chicken. It was just next to, the coop. So what we realized was that they were actually sleeping up in the trees. So thank goodness here we don't have predators as of yet, but that is definitely something we were experimenting with. All right. So this right now is our current chicken setup. We have technically 2, chicken coops, right? And these are mobile. We have a much smaller one, and then we have something which is not really a chicken coop. It was used to prepare the chickens, because where we bought this from is from a person who was getting rid of their whole chicken business. And we got it very, very cheap. We did the math, we calculated to see how much it would cost us to get the materials and then to basically build it. And this was more than half, cheaper by just buying it from this person. And not only that, but they were just so happy to basically, give it to people who wanted it and showed a lot of excitement that they just gave us a lot of things for free as well. So we got a lot of feeders from them as well. So we really do appreciate that. So yeah, this is where our chickens are staying right now. So as you can see, there's no grass or sawdust, put on here. And, initially we had put a lot of grass, if you look over there. But what ended up happening is that the past few weeks we had a lot of raining, like within this area. And what happened then is that the rain actually flowed into the chicken coops and made the grass wet. So we actually had to take the grass out. And, this was also very important for us to realize because what we've done is that we used this foam, we sprayed the foam inside and outside to stop the water from coming in. But it turns out that when there's heavy rains, the water still flows in. So one amendment that we actually have to make is we just have to remove this. And then I'm going to put cement outside and possibly inside to just make sure that the water is just diverted all around of this chicken coop. So that's the other thing that we started to learn as well is that, the coops were good and they're very strong, but there were amendments that actually had to be made. So one of the amendments as well we made was just to make it a little bit darker as well. But we're also planning for me to kind of close it off a little bit more so that it's a bit darker in there because we realized that the first few days of them moving in here, they really didn't want to sleep in the chicken coop. So that could just be because maybe they didn't feel as safe in here as possible. So, creating a bit more of a darker, place in there is probably going to be very important. Okay, so another small amendment we have to make, or I'll be making, is, closing off the chicken coops because some parts of the coop are actually opened up. And so just to make sure that no predators are coming in, and so on. The other thing is that, previously when I opened up for the chickens, the chickens would then start, they would go out and then they would, start eating and all that. And then I would see that the birds would actually come in. So the birds are actually eating the food of the chicken. So I have to close off and make sure that nothing is going in there. Now, a big amendment that we'll be doing though is closing this part off to make an additional chicken coop. Remember, 100 chickens means that we need a lot more space, right? So adding another coop in here is going to be so important. So because we already have 2 chicken coops here, it's just going to be putting beams and then closing off the areas, getting a gate or so, and then it's really just going to be another big chicken coop, which is really going to be a very big deal for us. And then here we have our second chicken coop. So it's literally a copy of the other one. So here it's not going to be a lot of changes required, but again, it's going to be closing off the back part so that it's a little bit darker. The chickens feel a bit more comfortable, and then just making sure that parts like this are closed off. No birds can come in and no other predators can also come out. And then our small little, coop here. I mean, I love this little coop so much. It's basically already well done. I mean, there are small things that I could do just covering it on top here, but really this one is quite well set already. And little chickens and the smaller ones can actually fit in here just to make sure that we start them off right. But another big project will be this one over here. So the person that we got the project these coops from was actually having a whole business. I think I mentioned that. So, this was the part where they would actually, slaughter the chickens and then actually wash them, prepare them for their business because they were selling chicken. So this I'm going to convert to a coop, right? We're not in the business of killing chickens. I don't like killing those little babies. I think they're completely adorable and very sweet. So what we'll be doing is I will be covering it up with, wire, either wire, or I will be covering it up with pellets to make sure that we have another coop in here. So this will double up as a coop, and we're very excited about this process. Okay, so that's it from us. This has really been an interesting journey. We've been learning that, the chickens aren't that difficult. When we first got them, we're very worried about, taking care of them, feeding them and all that. But they've been really low maintenance. They, you open for them and then they just go around, they play together. They haven't been as violent as we initially thought, because we were warned that if they're just male chickens, they can get violent. But they get along very well. They move together as groups. And they're very low maintenance. They also haven't destroyed as much of the area as we thought they would. So it's been really exciting. What I'm looking forward to is the next videos, which will focus a lot more on converting this whole area into a nice place for them. So, stay tuned on that, learning how we can actually build really nice coops for them, getting the area prepared. And then when we finally, welcome the little chickens, to their new home. So, this is really it. The other thing we also are looking to do is, grow fodder and, alternate, sources of food for them. So that's why we have, corn and squash over there in that corner. That's because we want to grow more food for them, natural, organic food. So that will also be another whole, part of episodes and things we want to delve into in the future. But, thank you so much for watching. We hope you like, we hope you share, you comment, subscribe. Tell us, what is it that you've learned, through raising chickens? Were your chickens really difficult? Was it quite easy? Have you experienced the same thing as us? Is there something we need to know? Maybe right now we're just a bunch of naive people getting into the whole chicken debacle, Do you think 100 is a bit too much? So we want to hear what you have to say. And thank you so much. See you again next time.